meeting to order. Appreciate everybody being here this evening. And at this time, we're going to ask Pastor Larry Baldwin if he'll do our invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've given us to enjoy. Father, I thank you for this town, what it means to me. God, what I know it means to you. And Father, I pray that today, as the leadership of this town does its business, God, I pray that you would give wisdom where wisdom needs to be. And Father, I pray for unity within this body, within this town. And Father, I pray in this time of uncertainty with COVID-19, God, I pray that you would put a hedge of protection around our residents. We've had friends and loved ones to pass away from it, God, but we pray for a cure. God, we pray that the vaccine will come quickly and it will be arrested and we can get back to some type of normalcy. So, Father, again, thank you for this time that this town is set together to do business. We ask you to be with us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. This time, if you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. And I'll say that council members, as we are properly socially distanced now, you can keep your mask on or take it off at your pleasure. At this time, we will have a motion of approval of our minutes from our last meeting of August 3rd. We hear a motion. Have a motion by Councilman Harvell. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll have a second by Councilman Burgess. All in favor? Our minutes from our previous meeting stand approved. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, we will hear public comments. Good evening.
Come back to, not come back, but I'm going to be attending the meeting. But I come to thank the chief, I guess, for the increased patrol on East Carolina Street. Since patrol has increased, we haven't had any shootings at the rental properties. Keep in mind that the shooting, they are at the Olson rental property, and there are some other properties there that now we're having, I can't say that they're homeless, I don't know who they are, but they're in vacant properties there. The vacant properties, either they can, I did mention this to the chief, they can actually be boarded up, or maybe, I know at the Olson rental property, there's one of his residents moved out. I don't think he's aware of it, because what's happening here, I brought a copy of the ordinance again for rental property owners. I do have some property there, but it's not green or leased or anything. But again, he doesn't have any lease. He doesn't have anything there. They just come and go. So this particular apartment, that's where all this violence is happening, the shootings. This guy, he left, and now we have people going in and out of that apartment. When I worked in property management, if we had someone to leave the property, or even if we get an eviction, we would always change the locks, and we would go there and, check the property. He hasn't been there, I know, because I can see when I go into my kitchen, I can look right out at that property. Again, there's still, well, per the ordinance, the rental property ordinance is telling me section 22-165 for offenses and revocation of the proceedings. And I know there have been numerous of things that have happened at those apartments. But this particular apartment now, I think the chief is aware of it, where the guy, I don't know his name that lives there, but that's where everybody is kind of congregating there. They know the guys are in the area now, so they're kind of laying low. But they haven't put away their wife. But I do really appreciate the increased patrol there. Again, no shooting, no nothing in your staff. I do appreciate that. But I just know that particular apartment, that's where they hang out at, and I think that's where they're keeping it on. But this
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you. Russell Harris.
Thank you again for allowing me to come before you. I did this very early in my residency here, and nothing's changed there. I came to compliment you on the infrastructure, particularly of the public works there, and how everything works so smoothly there. Some of the nicest people, they do their job, they do it well. But that, and I will sort of use a sandwich here, give you something positive, and let me give you something that surprised me. Last Saturday morning, at 6:17, I was putting up my signs for my garage site. All of a sudden, the chief had good bucks. 3 of them showed up for me and my 16, 17, 18-year-old grandson, and said that I have a permit. I said, no, I've read all through the city stuff. I didn't see anything referred to garage site. There's something, you've got 3, it appears, temporary sign permit, beginning blah, 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 for a temporary business sign on an existing business, was online. One for a peddler, I don't think I qualify for that one either, because it's something about owner and who your residential builder is and your bonding company and the fire department inspection. I didn't have any of that, nor did I feel like I had a need for it. And then the third one, I believe, is for sign permit application, height of the building, square footage, that sort of thing. Clearly, each place it says business, business, or peddler. Nowhere on the website did I find anything that dealt with having to have that. It may be somehow y'all interpreted that, but you don't have a form for it. It's not on the website. 3 policemen with no mask on, by the way, which I'm disappointed not to see everybody here a little longer. We got to stop this COVID. I've been in the medical profession for a long time. Everybody should be wearing it. If you don't, you ought to be not getting within 200 feet of anybody. I'll leave that alone. I feel like I lost probably because I had some fairly sacred antiques. We're moving, but I'll be gone. So you want to deal with me, I'll come in wherever this permit is. Tell me about it. Is there one?
Yes, we can get you a permit.
Huh?
So we can get you a permit for your garage sign. Yeah,
How was I supposed to know?
right.
Now, come on. That's not an excuse. I mean, that's an excuse. That's not a valid reason. Confer to your lawyer. Lee, I can address that. It wasn't that.
Right.
I was stopped and sent home and sent to get down my 5 signs that I had up. The rain didn't help, but I had big things that came from my great-grandmother and my grandmother. We get ready to move into a little teeny place, Clover, with our grandchildren.
I'll be glad to
You
meet.
want to give me $1,000 or a loan? What do we want to do? How are we going to resolve this thing?
We appreciate your comments, Russell. I'll be glad to meet with you and work out any issues that you've got.
I'm not going to be here.
Okay.
It is an issue. How was I supposed to know how any of these people, or any people in this town, supposed to know? I mean, I'm given. I was on the board of the Williamston. I love this town. I've worshiped with him. I've worshiped with the 13th Church, everybody else. I've tried to be a good citizen, and then I get trapped. You know, it's kind of hard. Only other time I got stopped was in some little town on the way by Aiken. Everybody knows it's the speed trap town. And their excuse, I'm trying to hear tonight, was similar to that one. I said, I passed the 45 mile an hour. Yeah, but you, not in my town, he said. I said, where's that? Oh, it starts at Texaco Station, it goes to the Krispy Kreme. And I paid 30 cents. Said, no, you mess with it, just pay the dirt. So I think it's vice versa. I think I lost a lot of money. Nobody knew where Stewart Street, few people that did, nobody went west Stewart Street at West Carver. They didn't know where Stewart Street was. Like signs would have been good, and not to mention information on the website. When was the ordinance passed? What did it say?
Lee, would you like to address any of that? Like I said, Russell, I wish you'd just give me a call, but I'm sure we could work something out. But I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm up, but I'm happy to meet with you and work out any kind of resolution, and that's all I can offer you this evening. If you'd like for Lee to mention highlights of our sign ordinance,
I'd
then.
like a little highlight for the rest, to educate the rest of the people. That I
Okay.
didn't get educated on, always on your website.
Right.
Why? I like to do the attorney yourself.
Well, we will be glad to sit down with you and go over that, and we will make information available on our website as well. This is public comment. We typically don't have conversation back and forth. This is public comment. But I'm more than happy to meet with you or any citizen that has any questions about that. And if we need to offer more information on our website, happy to do that. So if you'll stick around, we'll set a time before you go tonight to get together.
Well, I'll give you a call.
Just give me a call. Right. Okay. Thank you for your comments tonight. Okay, with no more public comment, we will move to our presentations, and I know that Steve Ellison, Chief Ellison with the Fire Department, has another meeting that he needs to be in attendance at, so we're going to have Chief Ellison's presentation first.
The fire department has undergone a ISO audit. It began the first of the year, and it places a rating on the fire department as how good or how bad they are. And it's very lengthy. If I went through it tonight, we'd be here till midnight. And so I'll go and everybody a copy of it, and so you can have one. And this determines what your insurance premium will be on your home. ISO comes in and rates businesses and fire departments and everything. Anyhow, we started the first of the year and they watched everything we do, and we had a class 3, and I'll tell you this: class 1 is the best you can be. Class 10 is the worst you can be. We were trying to obtain a class 2, and we did not. We weren't able to reach enough points to get a class 2. And I will tell you this: no volunteer fire department in the state of South Carolina has ever got a class 2. We would have been the first if we had got one. We strive for that, but it didn't happen. We scored 74 points out of a possible 100. It's broken down into 50 points for the fire department, 40 points for the water, 10 points for communications. We got all of the points for communications. We got 26 out of 40 points for the water, and we got 33 out of 50 points for the fire department. This adds up to us having 74 points. And for us to get a class 2, it would have been 80 points. We'd be 6 points. Maybe sometime we can, in the next 5 years, audit us every 5 years. And I would love to be able to see them come back. There's a waiting period of 1 year if we correct some of our things that's in that report, and of where we are falling down. And you can call them back 1 year later. There's a 1 year waiting period. The 33 out of 50 points came. We left 14 points laid on the table. That was because of training, and I would take full responsibility for that. That's the fire department, the training that 16 hours a month training, and we do 4. We do 2, first and third Monday nights, we do 2 hours. Third Monday night, we do 2 hours. That's 4 points. So we may have to up our training points, and we'll try that, to do that, and try to get it. One thing that we don't have is a spare truck or a reserve truck. We don't ever, if a truck goes down, we just don't have a truck. And we don't have one, and they digged us for that. It's the trucks that we've got, the 2 main pumpers that we've got, it's a 92 model and a 98 model. I don't think anybody in this room drives a 92 model truck. But we're dependent on that for fire protection in this time. And we need to, at some point, buy one of the truck. And there needs to be some type of an annual replacement thing of where we are, not annually, but over so many years where we can keep the equipment up to date. We don't have any spare equipment whatsoever. We have, everything we have is on the trucks that we have, and there's none whatsoever, anything spare. So they gigged us on that. And that's part of our points system that we got. Communications, we did, we get 10 out of, they give us 10 points for that, we got 10 out of 10. We have some problems with that coming up, but we will work that out with the internet that runs from 911 center to the water tank, as we will internet, and it's going to end sometime soon. We don't know when, but we got to come up with some kind of doing that. The water, we don't have anything in the world to do about that. I can't do anything at all about it. I will tell you this, that the hydrants that we have, we do a hydrant test on every hydrant in town every August. And they're not flowing. We've only got one tank. Virginia Drive. The farther you go out away from it, the weaker it gets. And that's part of our problem. If you go to the Mahaffey Road area, we have hydrants over there that only have 500 gallons a minute flow. The needed fire flow for the town of Williamston is 3,660 gallons per minute, and they only have 500 of them. So that's the reason we have to have 3 fire trucks, we have to have 3 pumpers, and we got a 1250, a 1250, and a 1500 right now, and they're all passed, but none spare. And so that's one thing that we're going to have to try to do better with is do maybe more hydrant testing than we do. It costs big money to do that. They require that you do hydrant testing twice a year. We do it once, and that's getting us on that. I would tell you though, the 74 points from the last time we were scored, almost 7 years ago. They're behind, COVID got them behind. But we did score 70 points and got the 3. This time we scored 74 points, so we did gain in points. The next time that we're audited, we should be able to overcome this and be the first fire department in the state that's volunteer that has it. But either that or which is very expensive to do. Belton, they scored, they got the 2, but they have a full-time fire department, and they have a spare truck. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how they do it, but they have reserve vehicles there that they use. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer anything that goes on. If you look at that report, you need to look at it, call me and let me know what you think we need to do. I would be more than happy. One thing I would like to do, I'm retired now, so I have retired. And I spend most of my time down in the fire department. Most of it, this is the 5th time I've been through ISO. ISO is it's deep. That's the reason there's so many pages to it. It's very, very deep to get into. And we have a just like the other department heads do since I retired, is give you a report monthly. And the fire department give you a report of what's going on at the fire department. And each month, I have time to do that now, and so I can do it. And I would love to be able to come each first, whatever it is, and give the report and let you know what's going on, how many firemen we got. And that another thing is terrible. People don't give their time away like they used to, and plus it becomes so much red tape of you becoming a firefighter. There's all the training that's necessary for you to do. We try to put on the department people that are trained. Most, I think 16 of our firefighters out of 28, we got 28 total, are full-time firemen somewhere else. In Greenville City, Anderson City, Parker District, South Greenville, they're everywhere. And we try to put those people on. It's got all the necessary training, and then you don't have to send them to the fire academy to be trained to get to be a fireman. And so we do that constantly, and we try to. It's hard to turn a guy down that doesn't have any training, but we have to. And it requires a great deal of dedication. If you go to the fire academy, it takes 8 weeks. So that gives you what we call OSHA firefighters, and it's all classes that goes along with that. We need if we had the spare truck that we're talking about here, that we don't have a place to put it. It'd have to be a building built somewhere to put the truck in. So all those things need to be addressed in the years to come, in time to come. And we got 5 years to get ready for another. And so I hope that we can do a little bit better. And Belton and Honey Path both have full-time fire departments. We are the only municipality in the Anderson County that has a volunteer fire. And so we do the best we can with what we got. And like I say, a class 3 is unheard of for a volunteer fire department. Most volunteer fire departments are 5. It's as low as they can get. And but we so close to we got a 3, we're so close to a 2. It's unreal. So we need to try to. I'll try to keep everybody updated. If y'all will put me on the agenda for each council meeting, I'll do my best to be here and give you a report of what's going on. And you'll know a little bit better of what's happening at the fire station. It's got to the point where now you need to know what's happening out there. And it's not happening here in this room. We need to let you folks be part of the what's going on down there, and let you see what we put up with or what we have to do with every day. So it's tough, and nothing is easy. We do have 3 men down there, 3 guys. John Fryer is a South Greenville fireman. Avery Bell is an Anderson City fireman, and Stephen Nichols is an Anderson City fireman. They work 24 at their regular job, and then they're out 48. Well, they work for us for 48. There's 2 days a month that we don't have anybody because they're all 3 are working at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so I try to go down and cover that. Tomorrow is one of the 2 days a month. So if you don't see me down there tomorrow, if you don't see somebody down there tomorrow, that's the reason why. We do the best we can and roll the truck as quick as we can and get out as quick as we can. And I would love to see us change the water system, especially David's back there, and I know it's a little politicking part of this, is for the houses that's scheduled to be built between First Street and Mahaffey Road, and there's no water over there. There needs to be a water line. I need to tie the two together. There's water on First Street, but there's not much on Mahaffey Road. And when those houses get built, it's going to down the bowl. So we need to put more water on it, and it's going to have to come somewhere with a grant or something. And, I'd love to be able to sit Anybody got any questions?
I think that was a great report, Steve. We just appreciate the fire department. I think that's very positive, see the score go up like that, and that's, halfway from where you were to get to 2, so we'll work to try to make that 2 happen, and we're already working on the water line project over on Mahaffey Road, so we'll see if we can get that to happen. So I think there's some real low-hanging fruit there to help those
If you
points.
driving through town and you see a fire hydrant, we're about to begin painting hydrants again.
Mhm.
A red hydrant is 500 gallon in. Then you got orange, you got blue, you got green. That tells us how many gallons a minute that hydrant is flowing. And all of the Spring Street, Durham Drive area is red hydrants at 500 gallon a minute. That puts us way down. And I don't know why, but the ISO people, that's where the first place they're gonna go.
Yeah.
That's the first place they're gonna go to check a hydrant. The hydrants on the list that's on the last page.
Right.
The ones that we checked. It was a time-consuming thing, but we did the best we could.
I think you guys did a great job.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your report tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. All right, next we'll have a report from our police department.
Good evening. How's everybody? Good. I'll talk to you just about a few things, so I'll be brief. First of all, I want to talk about where we are on our certification, working on our South Carolina CALIA, what we call our standards of certification. We're on our way with that, as well as working on that. We are diligently working to make sure that we have our general orders in compliance with the state standards. So that's going to take a while because that's some training behind that as well. So we're working on that as well. Also, we're looking at within the context of the standards of having the standards. We're looking at forming. I talked to the mayor about an advisory council, not a review, but an advisory law enforcement council, and that'll be something that the council will take a part in once we flesh that out, where the council can have representatives participate in the advisory council. So that's something that we're working on as well. A couple of things I do want to tell you is we got 2 grants. We received 2 grants, and we got one more we're crossing our fingers for that we hope to get, but we got a COVID grant for $71,000. And basically, what that grant does is that grant will help us from backfilling. We've had to have officers that had possible exposures. They would have to be out, so they have to be backfilled. We got behind on our training because of the COVID and different things like that. And so this, part of this money will help us in making sure we can backfill positions in vacancies. We have 2 new. We have one at the academy. Just left yesterday, go to the Criminal Justice Academy. We got one that he's came on board as well. He's already certified, came out of Greensboro, North Carolina, but he's still in a training capacity. So what this money will allow us to do is to backfill, is to make sure that we have the appropriate amount of officers out at all times. So that's what a portion of that money will do. What we have done is we've been working aggressively in the community. You heard tonight about East Carolina, but we've also been in some of our other problem areas as well, spending time in our other areas as well, working aggressively in those areas, in doing those kind of things. And some of the things we have done some DL checks in the past. We all on board, the command staff as well. We come out, we work a lot of different hours. We don't get overtime, that kind of thing, but we work those hours. The grant will allow us to get some compensation from the grant and working as far as the COVID grant. It also will give us able to buy equipment that we need as well for COVID. We also got $25,000 in reference to new body cameras. So these cameras get worn out, they get broken and those kind of things. So we also got a grant for that. Now, one of the things I like to mention is, and I had them to calculate this, since we've been here since 2013 through our partnerships, partnering with different agencies, partnering with different training, and with the grants that we've written and all, we've amassed around $454,000, a little bit over $454,000 when it comes to investments into the police department, and that's not using taxpayers' money. I think we've had a few things that we had to have the cover the 10%. What we had the car, and just some of the highlights, just some of the things that I like to mention, even partnering with Anderson County for assistance in radios for the SROs. I mean, that was like $10,000 that we got from them. We had an equipment grant for $99,000, and it was a matching, but I think a 10% match, but it was $99,000 and some change. That was for a car and radio. This stuff is expensive. We've also had just several. We had another $25,000 grant for a docking station where we can house all our camera stuff and different things like that. We work closely with other agencies for training. We also work with the Department of Justice on the Bulletproof Vest Partnership, where they will help us recoup these vests that are expensive. We spend a lot of money on these vests, and a lot of times to spend that money, the officer leaves, we can't just put that vest on another officer. That officer has to be fitted for a particular vest. Like I said earlier, about $40,000 worth of the 2 vehicles and equipment from the State Law Enforcement Division that I went because I have a partnership with them, and with Chief Kill, I serve on the Law Enforcement Training Council with them. We were able to get 2 Tahoes with equipment in it. That's a lot when you start talking about blue lights and things like that. So we're able to have that happen as well. So we've got a lot. We've got another grant out for 2 vehicles. If we keep our fingers crossed that we get those 2 vehicles on the grant that we got, around $454,000 as we got on the grant so far. So we're working diligently, partnering with law enforcement agencies. I was recently called to testify to a law enforcement subcommittee, and they talked about small agencies, small departments, and we talked about and stressed the importance of the standards of that we all agencies should have a standard, whether they're small or large, but we all should be working from one set of rules and one set of standards, which is a high standard. So we did have good conversation with that, and I'll probably be back down testifying some more on that. And the key thing with this, dealing with these subcommittees and dealing with our legislators, is that when it comes to grants and when it comes to opportunities, a lot of times they see because we're involved in the process, then they're more apt in a lot of situations to assist us to make sure things happen. So that's one of the reasons why we need to be connected to the state and be involved in legislation and be involved in the things from the state and those kind of things, and training opportunities and so on and so on. So we're moving right along in that. Now tonight, what I want to do tonight, the officers came to me a while back, and I went to the mayor. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work, and I went to the mayor, and the officers wanted to do, I know Anderson County, we're a small agency, but yet there are things that we can do to make an impact in our communities. Some of the bigger agencies have like a No Shade November and different things like that. And some agencies, they continue with their wearing their beards and that kind of thing. So we searched some policies, and we found some policies that we can do. And I went to the mayor, and the mayor approved it. I said, I don't know if he's approved or not, but he's approved it. And so what these officers came to me, they said, listen, we want to have an opportunity to wear beards and wear neatly shaven and that kind of thing. You see, you take that off, it's neatly shaven, and we have standards for that. But we want to be able to pay and put money in a pot, and every quarter or so, if they want to be able to give that money to an organization within Williamston. They want to be able to donate money to an organization right here within our jurisdiction that meets the needs of the people within our community. So with that being said, they made the decision. They pooled their money together, and the mayor allowed them to do this, and they made the decision that they wanted to award their first check of $350 to Hillcrest Baptist Church. So, Mayor, if you want to come down and the Pastor Larry Bowl from Hillcrest, and since you got the beard, come on over here too. Y'all get out there. Y'all want to get out there? You probably want to. Okay. David, since this is y'all's idea, I'll let y'all. Yeah, well, we'll get in the news for you, not from that, all
We won't know, but.
And Pastor, some of the things, let's tell a little bit some of the things you guys do. So we give this to people that nonprofits and do volunteers, some of the things that you guys do in the community.
When I graduated, I went over and did a master's degree at Williamston town look better, but a lot of this is for people that really need, that don't have any way to do it themselves. We just want to go out in the community and just be the hands and feet of Christ.
Well, we appreciate everything you do, and one of our things is partner with the community, and anything that we can do in your service, we would definitely love to be involved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. We really, let me say personally, we really appreciate that. As a public agency of local government, we cannot invest time and money in private properties. And so many times our hearts go out to citizens that have these needs, and our hands are just tied because it utilizes public monies and public equipment and that. So these volunteer efforts within the community make a tremendous difference in a place of great need. And so I really appreciate your proactive actions and the actions of Hillcrest to minister to these needs in our community. So thank you so much. At this time, we hear from Lisa Cope with Envision Williamston.
Thank you. Just quickly introduce myself to you. I don't have a whole lot to report because this is the beginning of week 3. So right now I'm still getting through passwords, and we'll talk later about that social media stuff. It just didn't work. It was a bug. Nothing that you did. But my main thing is I'm here not to just serve town council or serve businesses. I'm here to serve everybody. We all live here or work here, or we wouldn't be in this room, or we care, we wouldn't be in this room. So anyone who has any ideas or concerns or challenges that you're facing, my email box is always open. I even check on weekends because sometimes if you have an urgent need, I want you to at least know I'm reading it, I'll think about it, and I'll start putting it into action as soon as I get back to the office. I'm not always in just because sometimes I have meetings. Chief Ellison took me all around the world today, and we talked about the different challenges that the fire department faces, the different things that they see as needs. I'm going to be doing the same thing with the police department tomorrow. I will do the same thing with anyone here. If you have anything that you want to bring to my attention, the only way for me to find out about it and start trying to solve the problem is if I know. So if you don't have a card yet, there's some outside my office. I have some here. Email is the best way to reach me. Just because I will honor that even if I'm not in the office, I just am looking forward to serving you. I've been a nonprofit in some way, shape, or form for the last 30 years or so, and I love it. I miss doing it for the few years I was out of it. So I'm just happy to be here. Community outreach and fund management are my 2 specialties, and I want to engage the community and reach out as much as I possibly can. So any problems you have, any concerns, any ideas you have, anything that you want to see happen, just shoot me a message and I'm happy to help. And thank you guys for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with all of y'all. Same thing to you. Just shoot me a little email or a text message. I'll give you my cell number if you need it, and we'll meet virtually or in person, and we'll make things happen. I'm just looking forward to it. Got some good ideas on things that we can do when we don't have to distance, but for right now, we've got some things going on that we can be doing now. These are really unique and unusual times, but we're not going to stop working to make this a better place to be. So, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, here we'll have a codes update with Debbie Chapman.
Good evening. First of all, I wasn't aware of the gentleman that came over. The sign permit, temporary and permanent, are on our website. It may be a little hard to find, but we're getting a updated version of the website, so hopefully it'll be easier to find, and the forms are on there. And everything is under Unicode if you want to do a little further research, and there's a link on there that you can click on to get to it. But like I said, we're getting an updated website, and hopefully it'll be easier to find. The codes update, I wasn't here this is for July and August, and I wasn't here in July because I was on vacation, so I was just going to go ahead and give you an update of both. We have one report of a large TV on the side of the road, and as of today, that large TV is still there, but we're working on having it carried off. It's too big for me to pick up, and it's going to require a trailer. The people have vacated the house. The officer tried to serve the papers to them, but it didn't work out because the house is vacant now. So we are working on it. We had 2 dilapidated buildings or houses that were reported. We had 18 overgrown property or tall grass reports. We had 3 reports of people living in campers. We had 2 houses that were condemned. And I was hoping Chief Ellison wouldn't leave and the policeman wouldn't leave, because I wanted to thank them. I started taking them with me on things like that, because when you condemn a house, I know the ICC codes and everything for fire and electrical and plumbing and everything. And all of those fall under our international building codes. So I've got where I list all those out advisably. That's, we need to list that out. That way people will know why it's condemned. And they had to bring all those into compliance before they are allowed to go back in. We had 2 reports of dogs running at large. We had 1 report of a person selling a vehicle at a residential yard after notice, and I did give them notice, and they are still selling vehicles. I just got to make sure that they change vehicles, and it's like they're being sold before we can do anything about that. We had 3 reports of people placing garbage or construction and demolition debris out on the wrong week for pickup. I'm trying to educate people on that. Some of y'all might have seen the YouTube thing that we put on the town Facebook page that had that. Plus, we went ahead and printed that out. And if I have a problem with compliance, I just send them that, and I say, okay, look at this. If you have a question, give me a call. And it's working out pretty good. We have some printed for people to pick up. We had 2 piles of mixed debris that I had to notify the people if they separated it, we will pick it up. We had 1 report of trash in the ditch. Actually, I went and saw this one, and then someone called it in after I had seen it. This person is a frequent flyer. I'm going to have to talk to the police department about it. We had 2 complaints of barking dogs. There is a noise ordinance in town, and also there's a nuisance ordinance. I think those would cover those. They have to be more than one time appearing at those, so hopefully they'll call in, we can get a record through CAD, and make a printout, and that way we can do something about that. We have 2 vehicles without tags. I saw those myself. And then I wanted to say that as a note, we had 2 problem houses that had been taken care of by the property owners through eviction. This was a long process, and one of those houses was one that I condemned, not the part of the 2 here, but one of them was one that we had condemned. They came and turned the water on because that was the only thing listed on the thing. They came and turned the water on, so they were able to go back in the house. But the house, eventually they got evicted. There was two different sets of those, so hopefully they won't be back. Caused a lot of calls, a lot of issues. As far as the zoning letter for permits that we do for residential and commercial building and other things, we had 2 structural improvements, 5 electrical upgrades, 1 new construction for apartments. And that was to cover all the units. I think there's 3 units, and they were only built 4, there's 7 units. We had 7 new house construction permits or letters, 2 pool installations, 1 addition to a house that was a bathroom and a bay window. We had renovation to bring an existing condemned house to code, and this was one that was condemned and purchased under the NIP thing, and we gave them a year to bring it up to code, so they got the permit and everything for that, and 1 solar panel installation. And that's all.
Okay. Thank you for the update, Debbie. It's nice to hear new construction going on in town and improvements, so appreciate you letting the council know about that.
I got a question.
Sure.
Debbie, you mentioned something about the large TV. What area was that at?
In your area.
Say again?
In your area.
Where specifically? What roads?
Church Street. I'll give you the address.
How long ago has that? Is that the same one from May?
Yeah,
And it's still sitting there?
yeah. And I
Don't
tried
worry
to-
about it. I'll get it myself. That's
Yeah, and I tried to get it, but
we appreciate that update, Debbie. Now we'll have a report on our recent gathering of balloons in Williamston with Roger Dixon and Angie Stringer.
I just want to say that thank you to everybody who came out and supported the balloon event. We weren't sure it was going to happen this year because of COVID, so we had kind of backed off a little bit, and then we talked to your leaders, and they were all on board. So we didn't advertise a lot. We held back the money because really the money for it goes to our patients. And for those of you who don't know, the Cancer Association of Anderson helps cancer patients who are battling all throughout the county, including Williamston. Anybody that's in active treatment and lives within Anderson County, we help. We help with prescription medication. We help with mileage to and from their appointment. If they don't have a ride, we can Uber them. We get them to their appointment so they can get treated, whether it's in town, GHS, Emory, MUSC, or even as far away as Indiana. We get them there and have them find a place to stay and work with them. So we walk alongside those patients. We have a good meeting from Williamston. I hope one day soon. We're working on our data for last year now, trying to get it all in, and I'll send you a map where it's all mapped out where we've helped people. And since the Cancer Association has been in business since 2003, we've helped about 8,000 patients across Anderson County. So it's a lot. Just to give you an idea, the balloon event is special to me because it gives some of our patients an opportunity to do things that maybe they wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise. And as a cancer survivor myself, it means a lot when you can kind of step out of your box and do something that really is an adventure. We had one patient who has been, she's terminal now, and she's been told probably a year to live, maybe. And she and her husband got to go up and fly, and it was a joy of her life. I have not seen her smile in the time that I've seen her in several months, and she had the biggest smile on her face, and it made it all worthwhile. She and her husband got to go up together. We also had one of our patients that passed away in July of last year, who his wife had asked if one of the pilots take his ashes up. He had always wanted to fly in a balloon, so he got to fly. He had his last flight, and we have a video of it. We gave it to the wife, and she was very grateful. So all of you had a part in that, and I'm just so grateful that we have a new home here. This was our third year, and I will say it was our best year. The facilities, the hospitality, it was wonderful. I had a couple of people looking around to give us ideas on how many people we had here. The first night, like I said, very little advertising. We had about 800 people out there. And on Saturday night, it was more than that. They lost count. So, I don't know. There were a lot of cars. Everybody was social distance. It was really nice. But I wanted to give each of you, we do a little lapel pin every year. So your logo is tiny, but it's so I want to give all of you one of these. And these are collectors. Pilots love these things. And you didn't get one yet. I just got them in. COVID delayed it. And then I have these for you guys. I've got one more that I've got to locate, but it's got the Williamston logo. We're real proud of being nice. And I want you to also know too that what happened here couldn't have happened without two people. Roger Dixon, stand up. Roger is awesome. And he just made things happen. So, and then the other person, Dave, come here. Debbie got a lot of the goodie bags together for the pilots when they come in. We like to show them that we're so grateful for them being here. They come at their own expense. We help with their hotel room and things, and we had a sponsor this year with Hampton Inn. But they come and travel, and those things are not cheap. Thanks to Blossman, we were able to provide the propane for them to fly here. So any of you see Blossman out in the community, thank
Thanks, Angie. All right, that's the end of our reports this evening. We appreciate all the department heads briefing council on current events and needs in their departments. And even though we have a lot of positive things going on in town, there's always other needs, and we want to be aware of those, so we appreciate that. Moving to old business, we have none, and our new business, we have one item, which is a first reading on an ordinance allocating funding for indigent defense. We will read that by title. Do we need to read the whole ordinance, Lee?
That's not necessary. It's up to you and the council.
All right, by title, we'll have first reading. Make a motion that we approve this on first reading, entitled An Ordinance Allocating Funding for Indigent Defense and Amending the Budget to Reflect the Same. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Harvell. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? None opposed. Thank you. We'll approve that on first reading. We'll have second reading at our next meeting. And with that, that is the only item of new business we have this evening. With that, we'll make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Correction, please. One correction.
Yes.
I'm totally wrong about it. It was July 29th. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Have a second.
Have a second. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you for coming this evening. Hope to see you back at our next meeting. You have to apologize to the chair. There was a rumor going around that you were on a cruise, and that's why you were.